KATSEYE first flop. So maybe I'll delete this in a few, but this is just my initial kind of like off the cuff, we just got here thoughts. I think KATSEYE is way too unique, interesting, cool, captivating of a group to be recording Camila Cabello demos written by Charlie XCX from like over 5 years ago. Ooh. It's not even it's just like that's just what I feel. You know what I mean? I feel like with their debut and with Touch, they really proved to us and to the world and to their company, because I feel like K-pop companies really need to be like shown that you can make the money first. I feel like they really showed the company like people are listening to us, people find us interesting, people fuck with our concept, people know who we are and fuck with who we are. So I feel like they deserve to be doing better than to be doing songs written for Camila Cabello, shopped to Rita Ora and Anita.
And Hybe is kind of hindering them. I just want Hybe to trust in them more. Laura is a great producer. Manon writes poetry and lyrics. All of the girls have talents and are talented enough to create their own sound and create their own music, and we would love it. And we would allow them to experiment. We just want their music to sound authentic to them. I feel like right now the songs are like very catchy because like they're following a formula, but it's the visuals that encapsulate you. You get the visuals in and then just keep watching the visuals until the song is stuck in your head and now like you like the song. And I'm not saying that KATSEYE is the only K-pop group that follows this formula. I see KATSEYE actually being a really big pop group. I don't want them to fall victim or prisoner to a formula that only works in a K-pop adjacent way. Like they are a global group. Please remember that.
So many KATSEYE fans that are mad about how Pitchfork rated Beautiful Chaos 5.5 out of 10, and I feel like a lot of you are really giving Pitchfork too much power. If you want to be really honest about it, what they said was not technically too wrong, you know? And sonically, Beautiful Chaos feels like you're listening to an English K-pop mini album, you know? 5 songs, all pop, all very different types of pop with not a lot of fluidity. It's very K-pop mini album coded, y'all. There's no shade to KATSEYE because again, I do like KATSEYE, but when he said the songs were like generic, let's be fair, they kind of are, y'all. I don't think nearly generic. I don't think people consider Hyper Pop to be generic now, right? And when that song first came out, I thought the rest of the mini album, because what it basically is, was going to be like that, and it wasn't.
KATSEYE is a K-pop group, so just fucking deal with it, get over it, and stop commenting on that video. Like, seriously. You want to keep telling me they're a global group? Great. I watched a documentary too. I know what it says. I know the girls say global group. I know Hybe says global group. You keep telling me to do my research. I don't need to do my research on a group that I don't like. People who don't stand the group or casual listeners aren't doing their research. I'm talking about the way they're presented. They are a K-pop group.
Even though there is nothing inherently bad about KATSEYE being associated with K-pop groups, because, you know, that's expected. Their fan base are majority K-pop fans. With that being said, having to see certain K-pop fan takes on them.
KATSEYE's fandom desperately trying to remove them from K-pop spaces, despite the company catering and marketing themselves towards the K-pop community, is laughable. They always argue that Ariana Grande is also under Hybe or some other artist has also performed in Korea, but no one treats them like K-pop artists, and y'all sound dumb. KATSEYE is a K-pop adjacent global girl group whose marketing and development is based on a K-pop system. KATSEYE spend weeks in Korea every single comeback trying to chart and gain popularity in Korea. They go on variety shows and interact with K-pop idols to promote their songs every single comeback. Name a Western artist that does that every time they release a comeback. In fact, name a Western artist that even calls their new releases comebacks.
I really wonder how hard it's going to be for KATSEYE to break out of the K-pop realm, because I don't know if a lot of you realize their music is being considered K-pop. You go on Spotify, it's considered K-pop. I'm listening to a K-pop radio station on iHeartRadio, and they play KATSEYE. I know some people that ended up watching that K-pop Demon Hunter movie, and they were like, oh, give me some K-pop recommendations, and I'm like, what songs do you like so far? And people have been bringing up KATSEYE. They have not uttered a Korean word in any of their songs.
KATSEYE has a branding problem, and Beautiful Chaos makes it impossible to ignore. Sound without a signature. The identity crisis in the music itself. At this point, we've talked about everything orbiting KATSEYE, their branding, their K-pop adjacency, their rollout strategy. But now we have to address the actual product, the music. Because if we're being honest, KATSEYE isn't known for their sound yet, and that's a problem. So far, KATSEYE's singles haven't made people say, wow, this is a group with a voice. They've made people say, well, I like the girls. Touch was serviceable. Debut was divisive. Tonight I Might and My Way were palatable. And while Gabriella was warmly received, even fans have admitted it's not exactly life-changing. The rest of the Beautiful Chaos EP, songs like Game Boy, MIA, and Mean Girls, are good, but not game-changing in today's crowded pop landscape. Side note, I genuinely commend them for spotlighting the trans community in Mean Girls. It's bold, forward, and exactly the kind of inclusive storytelling I'd love to see more of. Out of their entire discography, Gnarly is the only track that truly sparked interest. Yes, it was polarizing, but it got people talking. It made KATSEYE feel intriguing, like a group worth watching. And yet, none of these songs have carved out a clear sonic identity. None of them have said, decisively, this is KATSEYE. And when you're launching a girl group in a market where girl groups have all but vanished, fine is a gamble. Interesting is not enough. You have to be undeniable. You need a sound that lingers, a voice that's recognizable even when the visuals are stripped away. Something that makes people stay long after the viral rollout fades. To be fair, it's only been a year since their debut, and they've already achieved an impressive amount. It's reasonable to say they're still discovering who they are musically, and perhaps they have the ambition of being a genre-bending group. But if none of the work feels cohesive, it starts to look less like innovation and more like Hybe and Geffen throwing things at the wall to see what sticks. It gets even more complicated when you consider that KATSEYE's two most talked about songs, Touch and Gnarly, sparked conversations not about originality, but about resemblance. Touch has been described as a track any other K-pop girl group could have recorded, though to be fair, that's mostly because K-pop already absorbed the dreamy Pink Pantheress style of production a while ago. And when Gnarly dropped, the immediate response wasn't confusion alone, it was comparison. I remember seeing a comment that read, "This feels like a song a K-pop group made to cash in on Charlie XCX's Brat success."
I think what KATSEYE is trying to do with this gnarly thing is cash in on like Brat Summer. And to be honest, I think that could work because we are about to go into a pretty gnarly summer.
Although I love Gabriella for how it draws from Daniela's cultural identity, it honestly sounded more like an Anita track, and it made sense when I found out that both Anita and Rita Ora had worked on it beforehand. That's a branding red flag. Because rather than establishing a lane of their own, it suggests the group is riding waves, not steering them. Instead of defining the zeitgeist, they risk becoming a footnote to it. That kind of sonic uncertainty feeds into one of K-pop's longest-running critiques in the West. Having no distinctive original sound, trend-chasing without substance. Blackpink carved out a space with their signature trap-pop maximalism, punchy, pretty, and slightly menacing. NewJeans is instantly recognizable for their breezy Y2K minimalism. Even in the West, Destiny's Child gave us tight harmonies, clever songwriting, and a vocal texture that became their calling card. You could hear a Destiny's Child song before you even knew it was them. That's what's missing with KATSEYE. Originality is the quickest way to establish authenticity. It's not just about genre, it's about authorship. It's not inherently bad to receive songs from outside writers, but it becomes a concern when those songs feel like hand-me-downs of other artists rather than custom fits. Ideally, your producers and writers shouldn't just be handing you whatever's on the shelf. They should be crafting a sound with you that feels unmistakably yours. Take Beyoncé, for example. She's explored everything from R&B to country to house, but no matter the genre, a Beyoncé song still sounds like Beyoncé. That's the power of a strong sonic identity. It travels with you, no matter the soundscape. One reason Destiny's Child felt so authentic is because they were involved. Beyoncé wrote. She produced. She built a sound that reflected the group's worldview. There's a behind-the-scenes clip I love, where she casually mentions producing some of their biggest hits.
When we did our first album, we were 15, and I was producing the vocals, a lot of the vocals. But I didn't know I was producing the vocals because I didn't know what that was. And the next album, The Writing's on the Wall, I produced a lot of the vocals. I didn't get credit because I didn't know until finally halfway through the album. I was like, why am I like producing the vocals and not getting credit? So that's when I said, hey, I'm just going to have us in the studio. We're going to do a song by ourselves. And that's what we did on Independent Woman and Jumpin'. And I got the credit. So Independent Woman went #1 for 11 weeks and broke all these records, and Jumpin' did the same thing. So I did Survivor, and then the label was like, do another song, did another song. And before you know it, the whole album was done. And I ended up producing the whole record. So it's amazing that we're involved in all aspects of our careers. Even with our videos, we come up with the concepts, the directors we choose, the producers we choose to work with, does the tracks, the remixes, all of that. Our choreography, our stage shows, who we want on our tours, that's us.
That creative involvement didn't just sharpen their music, it sharpened her artistry. It made her a stronger vocalist, a sharper performer, and eventually, one of the most powerful creative voices in music. Right now, KATSEYE doesn't quite have that. Take Gnarly, for example. Written by Alice Longyu Gao, the track is steeped in her signature hyperpop edge, but the connection between the song and the group felt more theoretical than intuitive. The girls delivered it with energy and commitment. They absolutely performed, but it still felt like a song given to them, not born from them. Then there's Gabriella, a stunning track that nods to Daniela's Latin roots and could mark an exciting shift toward more culturally grounded storytelling. But even with its emotional potential, it doesn't quite land as a natural fit. The sentiment is sweet, but the narrative, pleading with someone named Gabriella to back off your man, feels disconnected from the members' public personas. There's even a viral clip of the group giving humorous advice against Gabriella's, which just adds to the sense that they're performing a role rather than expressing something true to them.
Hello?
How do you deal with a Gabriella?
Gabriella's not the problem, it's your man's, or whoever you're dating. That's the problem. Yeah.
Hung up. Bye. If your partner doesn't make you feel secure enough to be worried about Gabriella, maybe that's the wrong partner for you. Maybe you need to move on and respect yourself more and find someone you deserve.
Absolutely. Like, there shouldn't be a Gabriella. There shouldn't be
Right.
that
Like
other
a Gabriella
person.
is only there because your partner is entertaining the Gabriella.
Yes.
Oh! So let that sink in. That's some
maybe-
food for thought.
Maybe go for Gabriella.
Switch sides and go for Gabriella. I think that's KATSEYE's advice.
And it starts to feel even more disingenuous when you consider that some members have openly identified as LGBTQ+. Lara is queer, Megan is bisexual, so centering a song around a very traditional, heteronormative love triangle feels oddly out of sync with the group's ethos. It's not that they didn't sing it well. They absolutely did. But the song doesn't feel like it was written for them, with them, or even about them. And that's the key difference. Performing a song is one thing. Embodying it, making it feel like an extension of who you are, is something else entirely. That's why involving the members in writing or production isn't just a nice bonus. It's essential. It's how you build resonance. It's how you create music that doesn't just go viral, but stays on playlists. It's how you prove, in an industry so often criticized for being artificial, that there's substance behind the spectacle. The girls are talented. Lara's producing and writing, Megan's shown real musical potential, and Manon's songwriting glimpsed in Allure proves she has something to say. They should be more involved in shaping their sound.
Foreplay, I don't play with your games, I just do it my way. Hey. Replay all the times I did stay with a big heartache.
Go for it.
Take my time with you, and I'll wait for the darkest.
And that's it.
Wow!
My sister made a suggestion that I think is absolutely brilliant. For a group as globally diverse as KATSEYE, what if their signature sound and performance style wasn't just influenced by their backgrounds, but built from them? What if they actually embody the global identity? Imagine choreography that blends Latin styles, like salsa, with Ghanaian legwork, paired with Indian vocal runs, like the Hindustani scales, Korean trot-inspired melodies, and Filipino or Chinese instrumentation, all fused into a sleek, modern pop structure. While Gabriella is a beautiful nod to Daniela's Latin heritage, and there's talk of each member eventually having songs that highlight their individual cultures, it would be even more compelling if their core sonic identity wove all of these elements together from the start. Not as one-off tributes, but as a unified, recognizable sound that's both innovative and authentic. Something that reflects all the girls at once and gives them a distinct voice in the pop landscape, while leaving room to explore other genres down the line. A cohesive sonic identity gives structure to styling, music videos, stage direction. Right now, KATSEYE's visuals lean youthful, fun, and targeted toward a teen, young adult market, which is a smart move for audience building. But even within that, there's room for sharper cohesion. A lot of KATSEYE's songs sound dated, and I know that's a controversial take, but it's also something I've seen echoed in comments and TikTok videos, and honestly, I have to agree. Now, to be clear, sounding dated isn't inherently a bad thing. In fact, many artists are thriving by tapping into nostalgia. However, if you're going to make a nostalgic song, it needs to bring something new to the table. It needs a fresh perspective. Take Chappelle Roan, for example. Her music pulls from past eras, arguably late 70s and 80s synth pop, glam rock, and theatrical camp. But what makes it hit is that it's filtered through her unique lens as a queer artist. She's not just replicating the sound, she's reframing it with modern themes and identity, which makes it feel both retro and revolutionary. Or consider Raven Lenae's Love Me Not, a song that's blowing up on TikTok. It feels nostalgic, sure, but it's not stuck in the past. The production incorporates modern textures and unexpected twists that give it edge. It nods to old-school R&B and soul, but it's unmistakably current. That's the kind of balance KATSEYE needs to strike. If the songs lean retro, great. But give us a twist, a new story, a sonic surprise, something that moves nostalgia from imitation to innovation. Aesthetics will get people to click, but sound is what earns longevity. And if KATSEYE wants to move from curiosity to credibility, they need to define what they sound like, not just what they look like or what they're called. It is important that they have something cohesive, an identity that doesn't feel like they're throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks, but rather a clear, intentional sound that reflects who they are, their vibrant personalities and worldviews as a group. Beautiful Chaos might just be the perfect title to start that journey, but eventually, the chaos has to give way to clarity. Walking the tightrope. How KATSEYE can respect their roots while carving a global path. By now, we've established that KATSEYE lives in branding limbo. Too global for K-pop purists, too K-pop coded for Western gatekeepers. But that in-betweenness? It doesn't have to be a liability. In fact, it might just be their superpower. The trick is learning to wield it, strategically, deliberately, and with vision. KATSEYE doesn't need to reject their K-pop foundation to evolve into something bigger. But their evolution has to be legible. Right now, the ambiguity is working against them. With clearer intentionality, they can position themselves as something unmistakably hybrid, rooted in the rigor of K-pop, blooming into something globally resonant. The goal is to integrate KATSEYE meaningfully into Western pop culture so that they're perceived as truly global, living up to the title they've claimed. That means positioning and promoting them just as heavily in Western spaces as they currently are within K-pop circles. They may never fully shed the K-pop label given that they are under hype, but what they can do is become so visible and embedded in Western media that their global identity becomes undeniable. Here's a list of strategic moves their marketing team can take to help make that happen. 1. Avoid total alienation of the K-pop fandom they've built so far.
Yeah, no, I don't really do mud.
But you're a garden fairy!
Ironic, isn't it? Rosetta! Okay, all right, I'm coming.
KATSEYE didn't just stumble into a loyal base. They built one through textbook K-pop tactics. The survival show arc, the K-pop company clout marketing, parasocial live streams, and comeback-style rollouts. These fans didn't just show up, they were invited. And they arrived expecting a certain cadence, one that mirrors the K-pop experience. That foundation is golden. You don't alienate a fan base that organized itself around your origin story, but you also don't stop there. To become a truly global act, KATSEYE has to bridge the gap, especially for Western audiences who are still squinting at them like, wait, are they K-pop or not? The goal isn't to erase the K-pop influence, but to reframe it, less as a genre, more as a training ground. One that shaped them, yes, but didn't define their endpoint. So what does that look like? For starters, it means showing up in Western media spaces that communicate authenticity and accessibility. Yes, they've done traditional hits like Vogue, Allure, BuzzFeed, and radio interviews, and those are useful. But to truly connect, they need to dive into platforms that let them shine as individuals with humor, vulnerability, and personality. I'll be honest, I'm not a podcast expert, but I've definitely noticed their rise in popularity, especially with clips going mega viral on TikTok. Think podcasts like Call Her Daddy, Ziwa, Therapos with Jake Shane, or So True with Caleb Heron, Feeding Starving Celebrities with Quen Blackwell. Formats where pop stars show up as people. It is important they balance this with more vulnerable interviews that allow people to get to know them profoundly, like Dua Lipa, At Your Service, or the Zane Lowe interview. 3. Leveraging talk shows and dance floors to cement KATSEYE's vocal power, dancing credibility, and mainstream breakthrough. And let's talk late night. K-pop acts have dabbled in it, but KATSEYE has the chance to truly own it. Performances on shows like The Late Show with Stephen Colbert or The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon would be excellent, of course. But even better would be musical segments that bridge eras and genres. Imagine Lara or Sophia performing a duet with Kelly Clarkson or Jennifer Hudson, singing a powerhouse ballad like Beyoncé's Listen or any classic by a music legend. This would immediately introduce the group and vouch their vocal credibility. These performances aren't just nice-to-haves, they're proof points and cosigns. Beyoncé, Ariana Grande, and many of today's pop icons cemented their status with moments like these. It would be a brilliant move to have one or two of the girls appear on Dancing with the Stars. Manon, Lara, or Yoonchae could be great fits. While Daniela might seem like an obvious choice, her professional training in ballroom dance could be seen as giving her an edge, which might undercut the spirit of the show. Featuring someone like Manon, on the other hand, could offer a powerful opportunity to challenge and dismantle lingering misconceptions about her performance skills, which are often underrated. Beyond personal redemption arcs, it's also a chance to introduce KATSEYE to a broad mainstream audience, especially one that might not be familiar with the group yet. Its visibility, relatability, and storytelling all in one spotlight. 4. Streaming into the spotlight. They're doing a great job tapping into the world of streamers. A smart move, especially given how influential that space has become with younger audiences. Collaborations with streamers not only boost visibility, but also help the group appear more approachable and embedded in digital culture. It's a strategy that feels current and authentic, and they should absolutely lean into it even more. Strategic partnerships with popular Twitch or YouTube personalities could offer low-pressure, high-impact moments that let the girls' personalities shine and widen their reach beyond traditional music promotion channels. 5. Using KATSEYE's cultural diversity as a strategic key to unlock regional markets and representation opportunities. KATSEYE is diverse. That's not just a fun fact, it's a strategic asset. Each member brings a different cultural foothold that can be activated in unique markets. When the Asian members accompanied Lara to her honor at the Los Angeles LGBT Center's Golden Hour, it was a beautiful moment. But I also recognize the opportunity for intentional branding. Why not lean into that across the board? Have Manon attend the BET Awards. Let Daniela show up at Latin-centered music events or media outlets. 6. Lights, camera, crossover. How acting roles and cameos can boost KATSEYE's visibility in Western pop culture. Western pop culture rewards artists who can act. Think of how Renee Rapp got mainstream traction through The Sex Lives of College Girls, or how the Bailey sisters found new audiences via Grownish. Even Lisa from Blackpink gained a fresh wave of Western recognition through The White Lotus. Sophia and Yoonchae have already expressed interest in acting, and Manon's been praised for her charisma and screen presence on social media. All the girls truly shone in their acting throughout the Gabriella music video. Let them act. Let them cameo. Let them be seen in places where K-pop idols rarely tread. 7. Craft strong personal brands through style and sound. Western audiences don't just stan the group. They stan identities. KATSEYE is especially lucky in this regard. Each member has a distinct personality, style, and energy. Now they just need to crystallize those into personal brands. Fashion is a great entry point. Distinctive styling can build a visual vocabulary for each member, creating recognizable aesthetics that fans and brands can latch onto. Think Rosé's ethereal edge or Jennie's it girl fashion confidence. KATSEYE has the raw material, they just need the visual architecture to match. Developing each member's individuality should also include making their vocal identities distinct. One underrated reason for Blackpink's success, in my opinion, is how easily you can tell each member apart on a track. Their voices aren't just different, they're memorable. In KATSEYE, certain members like Manon already stand out vocally, while others tend to blend together. It would be a real advantage if each member honed a unique singing style that makes them instantly recognizable. 8. Cosigns over clout. Smart, synergistic collabs to earn artistic credibility and cultural cachet. Another lever? Strategic musical collaborations, done smarter. KATSEYE's current collaborators are mostly safe picks, some even buzzy. But virality doesn't always equal visibility. Take the gnarly remix with Ice Spice. It wasn't bad, but it didn't move the needle either. Ice Spice isn't at her peak right now, and while her persona aligned with the unserious nature of gnarly, it didn't elevate the song's credibility or extend its reach meaningfully. Imagine if, instead, they'd tapped Charlie XCX, who not only thrives in the same hyperpop adjacent space, but also carries cultural cachet with critics and pop heads alike. That remix could have done double duty, elevating gnarly and attaching KATSEYE to a tastemaker. K-pop collabs often fumble because they're too strategic, pairing popular names for numbers rather than synergy. But in the West, cosigns can launch careers. Think about how cosigns from Charlie XCX and Lana Del Rey helped shift public perception of Addison Rae. From a TikToker dabbling in music to a rising pop girl with real industry backing. So be strategic, yes, but also artistic. Collaborate with names like A.G. Cook, Dan Nigro, Amy Allen, Benny Blanco, Jack Antonoff, producers who aren't just hot, but have brand gravity. Their involvement is an endorsement in itself. Think of how Sabrina Carpenter's collaborations shaped her pop reinvention. KATSEYE should aim for those kinds of touch points. While I wasn't initially convinced by gnarly, I recognized early on that its production succeeded in capturing KATSEYE's defining qualities: eclecticism, unpredictability, and a kind of curated chaos. It felt like a rare alignment between sonic texture and group identity. With that in mind, it would be creatively valuable to see Alice Longyu Gao compose a track specifically for KATSEYE. Not a hand-me-down from her own repertoire, but a song intentionally built around the members' individual personalities, worldviews, and artistic strengths. A tailored collaboration like that could deepen their musical identity and sharpen the cohesion between their brand and their sound. Another great way to boost their global visibility would be through strategic collaborations, like opening for major Western artists on tour. Imagine KATSEYE opening for Olivia Rodrigo, a fellow Geffen label mate. Not only is that a realistic possibility, it would introduce them to wider Western audiences and further solidify their identity as a global group. Similarly, a full run on the US and European festival circuit could be a game changer. They're already slated to perform at Lollapalooza in August, but a broader festival strategy, similar to what Olivia herself is doing, could expand their reach and firmly plant them in the Western pop landscape. 9. Let the art breathe. Fewer ads and more artistic integrity.
No, girl, I think we might have run out of money.
If Hybe x Geffen genuinely want KATSEYE to be taken seriously as artists in the West, not just as a sleek product, they need to reconsider how their music videos are framed. Right now, too many of them feel like ads. And while brand partnerships are a huge part of modern pop, there's a difference between collaboration and commodification. K-pop already battles the stigma of being overly commercial and capitalistic. If KATSEYE wants to transcend that and be seen as credible artists, the branding can't bleed into the music itself. Accept the deals, sure, but keep them outside the artistic world being built in the music videos. Let the art breathe. Let the music stand on its own. 10. If you want to go global, stop acting local. Leave Weverse. Win the West. Now onto platforms. Weverse, while excellent for fan engagement, comes with loud K-pop branding baked in. If KATSEYE wants to build a distinct global identity, telling fans, "We're not K-pop," while directing them to Weverse sends mixed signals. Western fans aren't logging into niche apps. They're scrolling Instagram, watching lives, and turning casual moments into viral pop culture.
What's my next album going to be based on? Divorce, babe. Divorce.
You guys hear me good? Big boobs. What? Child. Anyway, so.
Yeah. You're 29.
What?
No? 28? No.
Oh my gosh. He froze.
Sorry. I just Googled it.
Those moments don't just entertain, they build lore. Shifting to Instagram would give KATSEYE access to a much broader audience, while allowing them to cultivate personhood in a way that feels natural, unforced, and less capitalistic. It would also open the door to more organic crossovers. The girls are already starting to build connections with Western celebrities. Manon, in particular, has been spotted more and more in those circles. That's a good thing. I'd advise the company to continue tapping into Manon's natural magnetism and her effortless ability to connect with Western celebrities. People associate what they repeatedly see. If KATSEYE is always pictured next to K-pop idols, the K-pop label sticks. But if they start going on Instagram Live, for example, with someone like La Fei or Renee Rapp, or collaborating with Western creatives in visible ways, the perception begins to shift. And when it comes to branding, perception is the game. 11. Why language matters in KATSEYE's global narrative. Now to the language. KATSEYE should be careful about overusing K-pop terms. Western audiences don't say maknae, or visual, or center, and while those terms may be affectionate inside fandoms, they draw hard lines around what KATSEYE is perceived to be. It becomes harder for someone new to say, "This is a Western pop group," when the members are calling themselves the main dancer or the center. Over time, those labels limit them. The same goes for narrative framing. When explaining their origin, don't just say, "We were on a K-pop survival show." That's true, but it's not the whole truth. They were part of a rare artist development process, something that the Western industry used to prioritize, but now rarely invests in. Think Motown's legendary Artist Development Department, where icons like the Supremes learned performance skills, etiquette, and stage presence. That's what KATSEYE went through. Refined, rigorous training that made them whole artists. Framing it this way not only honors the K-pop system, but also connects it to a familiar Western legacy, one that the K-pop training model itself was in many ways inspired by. Example prompt for interviews. Yeah, we trained under the K-pop system, which was definitely intense, but in a lot of ways, it reminded us of what Motown used to do back in the day. It wasn't just about making music, it was about full artist development, vocals, choreography, stage presence, even media training. That kind of all-encompassing preparation doesn't really exist in the West anymore, even though you see people online wishing it still did. So while yes, it's technically K-pop training, it really feels like a modern, globalized version of that old-school artist development model. K-pop is one of the few music industries still doing that, and we are lucky to have received that training. Simple but effective. 12th, honor the roots, expand the reach. Balancing loyalty and growth in KATSEYE's promo journey. As KATSEYE becomes more successful, they'll need to gradually shift away from heavily promoting within Korea and Asia. That's not to say they should abandon those audiences. Far from it. It's important to honor the fans who supported them from the start. But over time, their promotional focus should evolve to center more on the music and performance itself, rather than the variety-style programming deeply embedded in the K-pop ecosystem. For example, Shows like Mupley's Silence of Idol are fun, but they anchor KATSEYE in a space they're trying to grow beyond. A small but meaningful change would be choosing to kick off their next album or EP rollout with promotions in the West first, before heading to Korea. It may seem like a minor detail, but it subtly signals a shift in priorities and the audience they're trying to reach. Conclusion: their marketing doesn't need to abandon the K-pop blueprint, it just needs to remix it. But where they should ease up is the language and cultural framing. Let the marketing reflect their hybrid identity, bold, global, and direct, with just enough sparkle to keep it interesting. To put it simply, they should not abandon the K-pop blueprint. They should just edit it. Keep the polish, keep the precision, keep the deep fan engagement, but blend in the Western virtues: agency, emotional resonance, clarity of message. Aim not to escape the K-pop label, but to transcend it. Because in a world that's increasingly hybrid, genreless, borderless, KATSEYE could be a blueprint of its own. But the image, the message, and the medium need to match. Only then will they stop needing to explain who they are. People will just know. And just to be clear, I'm rooting for them. I love these girls, truly. They're charismatic, funny, immensely talented, and watching them navigate this space has been thrilling. As a lifelong girl group fan, I want nothing more than to see them win. I actually think their team has done a fantastic job overall, navigating a near-impossible landscape with impressive finesse. These are just suggestions, not criticisms. That's why I made this video, not as a takedown, but as a love letter, one that hopes they get to become everything they have the potential to be. KATSEYE genuinely has the potential to be the group. I haven't felt this excited about a group since BTS and New Jeans. I have this gut feeling that with the right tools, they could truly soar. I mean, when was the last time a group had people saying, "I'm not sure about the music yet, but I'll still root for you"? And then those same people actually show up, in views, in engagement, in real support. That's rare. That's the magnetism of the girls themselves. I'm excited to be on this journey with them. The timing is right, the members are right, and they've got something that none of the recent attempts to revive the girl group era have had: true star power. They're next up, and if they play it right, they're going to take over.